In each of us there is another whom we do not know, from Carl Jung. Emerson M.Q. If the human brain were so simple we could understand it, we would be so simple that we couldn't. How do you remember your way to school? How do you think that your eyes blink without you ever thinking about it? Where do your dreams come from? The fact is that your brain is control of your whole body. So imagine if. Today I will be focusing on the natural drugs or chemical messengers called neurotransmitters in your brain, and how when we put foreign substances such as drugs or alcohol into our bodies, it alters the way that our brains are able to communicate with the rest of our body. I've been going to school. I've been an addict for most of my life. Since I was 13 years old, I've used drugs and alcohol, and I've been going to school for alcohol and drug studies. And I just completed that process last semester, so I graduated doing alcohol and drug studies, and I'm trying to become a ADAP counselor for alcohol and drug studies. First I'm going to talk about brain cells, then I'm going to talk a little bit about the neurotransmitters and the functions that they have, and next I will discuss some drugs and the way that they alter. Okay. Oh, it's not that one. Technical assistance. How do you turn it on?
Okay, Victoria, you're up.
Well, we had it earlier.
Vanessa.
Because if the batteries are dead, then you have to go to the keyboard and push the arrow.
Okay. So we all begin as a single cell. One cell that mutates, if you will, into many other cells. And in the brain, these are called neurons. All of the neurons in our body are the same, with a little bit of difference in the way that they communicate from the brain to the rest of the body. The cell body is the main part of the cell, and when we have the neurotransmitters or the chemical messengers that go through our body, they go through the little axon, and these things right here are called dendrites, and they're the ones that will spit out the different signals to the rest of the neurotransmitters. So, neurons have an amazing ability to gather and transmit information to the rest of our body. Some cells, they are the same as other cells, like I said before, and the chemical aspect of them makes them very amazing, that they can travel communication with the rest of our body for over long distances. These are some of the more important neurotransmitters: norepinephrine, serotonin, and dopamine. Dopamine has a lot to do with the reward reinforcement pathway in our brain. So when the dopamine is working properly, this is like how it would normally work. So this is like the cell body itself, and these are the neurotransmitters, and this is the one that's catching it. So it has to be like a specific cell body to catch the next one, and it has to be like kind of attached to it. So it has to be a one for that kind of a thing. So when the dopamine is, what it does is it tells you that something is, it tells you that you want to do it again, that it feels good. Okay, so that's pretty much what the dopamine does. And I lost the dopamine part now. The next one that I really want to talk about is not really the norepinephrine is an excitatory. We have a lot of different ones in our bodies. Some are excitatory, some are inhibitory. Dopamine is kind of both. So this is like what your brain is on marijuana, and marijuana kind of really attacks all different parts of your brain, and it also triggers a lot of the different neurotransmitters. One of the neurotransmitters that we have in our body is called an endorphin. And these are natural pain and stress relievers, so they naturally will fight the stress or the pain. So like if you were in a car accident or something, that's why you go into like a state of shock, because you have these natural painkillers inside your body that are at work. is an inhibitory, which means it stops something from happening. There's also a GABA, which is called a gamma immune deficiency, something other, they call it GABA. And it's more related to alcohol. This is a normal brain with all the green parts being normal brain activity, and this is an alcoholic brain of somebody that has been drinking alcohol over a long period of time with less brain activity, and then it starts to put holes in your brain, which does marijuana also. After many, many years of smoking marijuana, you'll have a brain that looks similar to this. Marijuana also attacks the mucous membranes inside your lungs, and those are basically little pockets of, they're like little things attached to your lungs, and then they have like these little feelers that are hairs, and that's what like cleans out the air when you put it in. But when you smoke a lot of marijuana, it attacks that, and so pretty soon you start coughing all that up, and you no longer have any hairs to clean your lungs out. So, I talked a little bit about brain cells. I talked a little bit about the neurotransmitters and some of the drugs that affect them. And finally, I talked about a little bit about how our brain communicates with the rest of our body. So, a brain is only capable of what it could conceive, and it couldn't conceive what it hasn't experienced. So imagine if you didn't have a brain and you couldn't experience anything in life.